Hello guys, and finally, Ukraine is allowed to use long-range missiles provided by the United States, France, Germany and Great Britain without any restrictions. And Russia is in great trouble now, because even with ordinary drones, we managed to target hundreds of their evil military objects these days. For example, last night drones visited a drone factory in Tatarstan, a chemical plant in Ivanovo, and Tula military plant. And in general, air raid alert was heard in dozens of Russian regions. Their airports were not working, including those in Moscow and St. Petersburg. That is a serious breakthrough for the Ukrainian army and failure for the Russian. And combine that with serious economic troubles. Yesterday, Trump posted a chaotic message in which he honestly described Putin as crazy, and that is a rare moment when I agree with Donald Trump. And that only post led to the collapse of the Russian stock market. And they lost more than 100 billion rubles in an hour. Russia is on the brink of the collapse. And you don't have to be afraid of that, because actually that's the only way to achieve lasting peace in Europe and the world. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia that has already started, subscribe, we discuss all of that on the channel. And let's start with this really beautiful decision. Ukraine was very patient. It was really difficult to have some of these supplies and not to be able to use them. Understanding that demilitarizing Russians' arsenals, Russian military air bases, we can save thousands of lives, and still we had these restrictions. But finally today, Chancellor Merz announced that Ukraine is allowed to use long-range missiles produced and supplied by the United States, by Germany, by France, by Great Britain, without any restrictions. This will definitely save thousands of innocent Ukrainian lives. Russia is very violent, and it believes that no consequences will follow. And I believe in this democratic, and I don't want to repeat Russian propaganda, but indeed Western values. When we care about lives of children, mothers, lives of innocent people who simply walk the streets of their cities. And I believe that these consequences for Putin's regime will be very, very serious. But they are already. Even without that permission, Ukrainian drones were able to do a great job. And I have a list of Russian regions that actually experienced air raid alerts yesterday because of the work of our drones. Russians are lucky that we follow the rules of law, the rules of normal people, and we only target military objects. And I believe that this attitude was one of the reasons why we finally got the permission to use long-range missiles and protect more and more of the Ukrainian soldiers, the Ukrainian cities. So yesterday, drones were working in Bryansk, Belgorod, Kursk, Tula, Oryol, Moscow, Kaluga, Ryazan, Vladimir, Yaroslavl, and even that far away as Tatarstan. Tatarstan is People's Republic inside Russia with a great potential to become independent one day, and they actually tried to proclaim that independence in the 90s. And if you want to know more about the decolonization of Russia, a very natural and important process that has already started, watch my new interview with Valery Pekar that I connect here. That was a very important and useful conversation for me personally, and I'm sure you can discover a lot from it too. So even without the permission to use long-range missiles, this week's Ukrainian drones were targeting hundreds of evil military objects, and among them, of course, a drone factory in Tatarstan. Tatarstan is more than 1,000 kilometers away from the Ukrainian border, which means our drones travel unstoppable because of totally failed Russian air defense, and as classical bullies that they were not prepared to defend themselves. Subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with the people of Ukraine, and please like these videos and share. That is important in the world intoxicated with the Russian propaganda and disinformation. Another important target neutralized this night is a chemical plant in Ivanovo. They typically produce various explosives for the Russian Ministry of Attack, because I cannot name it Ministry of Defense, and also Tula military plant. So a lot of locations, a lot of explosions, and a lot of messages delivered together with these explosions. And I'm sure more and more Russians, especially those who wait for, airports to start working, realize that Putin's special military operation totally failed. And back in 2022, or maybe actually in 2014, he started this process of the dissolution of the Russian Federation, the Russian Empire, the monstrous Soviet Union, whatever you name it. Let me know in the comments below with what probability you think Russia can dissolve in the next 5-10 years. Also, I was happy to hear about the sanctions that some American senators are preparing. And according to the rumors, it may be that Trump will not be able to stop them or won't try to stop them, because with each day it's more and more difficult for him to demonstrate himself as a strong leader. Putin totally humiliates him, disrespects him, even though he blames now Putin for really bad things. I'm speaking Trump language, like bad something happened, you big, huge. Anyway, but he says, I don't like what Putin does, but I also don't like what Zelensky says. It's so absurd to compare Zelensky with a war criminal, and just what don't you like about him? What don't you like Zelensky saying? I cannot even think of any idea, because right now Ukraine and European allies have chosen to be very positive, very respectful to whatever Donald Trump says, to not let him manipulate this public opinion and play by the Russian rules. And it gets difficult. That's why he had to post that message that led, to the collapse of the Russian stock market. And the Russian stock market is this toilet paper tiger. They don't have money. They keep pretending they have something, but in reality, their interest rates are super high. They ban loans from the banks. Millions of Russians do not return their credits and loans that they took from the banks, and they have problems with oil and gas. So it's all huge. And then the message of Trump and minus 100 billion rubles. I think we should stop measuring anything in rubles, because that's a ruble. Yeah. And once again, I want to say thank you to all of you who keep influencing your indecisive politicians, and then they start acting in a decisive manner. And I was really happy to hear this message from Merz. Maybe in the next one, he will also give us some Taurus. Also, please let me know what has happened between Macron and his wife on that airplane, because that's interesting. But, I think still it's way more real than what we see on Putin's side, no stories about his personal life, because he doesn't have any normal person life. By the way, we have a video from our previous series about lovers of Putin, and I think I will connect it here just for fun. I wonder if his doubles have doubles. Anyway, please, guys, support our 5th NAFO campaign. 1/3 of it is accomplished, and it makes me very proud, but it also makes me very proud of you and of all that you do on this daily basis to make Ukrainian armed forces stronger. And Ukrainian armed forces know what to do next to defeat, demilitarize Russia, and make this world a safer place. Please remember to check my new video that I love a lot on my new channel about my early Soviet Union childhood memories. And I've got a lot of positive comments that I will answer today, because I see you like this kind of videos. So if you haven't checked yet, do check. And check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters. The link is in the description of this video, same as links to my social media profiles on X, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, Threads, and of course we have an amazing Discord community. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, and helping me film, write more. That is such a blessing and an inspiration. I'm very, very, very grateful to you, special people. But most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!